Father's Day was supposed to be a celebration. Instead, it ended in screams, gunfire, and a father of 12 bleeding out in front of his kids. He was a beloved community man flipping ribs at a family barbecue, and within seconds, everything went up in smoke. What happened next shook the entire neighborhood and left police scrambling for answers. You won't believe who pulled the trigger and why. Stay with us to the end, because this story has twists you won't see coming. Hit that like button, subscribe, and don't blink. It all started in South Memphis at around 3:45 p.m. on a sunny June Sunday. Walter "Big Walt" Jefferson, 49, stood behind his grill, humming old-school tunes and turning thick slabs of ribs, his apron smeared with sauce. Around him, his 12 kids, ranging in age from toddlers to college age, ran around the backyard with cousins, uncles, and neighbors. The house was alive with laughter, and everyone came to celebrate the man they called the Backbone. Walter had grown up rough in Mississippi, clawed his way out of the streets, and built a life of purpose in Memphis. Everyone respected Big Walt. He coached youth football, handed out turkeys on Thanksgiving, and never let any of his kids go without. But even a strong man like him had enemies, one in particular, who had just been released from prison 3 days earlier. Quincy Q. Lomax, a name that Walter hadn't heard in nearly 12 years, had returned home, and he was out for revenge. See, Walter once testified against Q after a deadly robbery gone wrong back in 2012. Q took the fall, did hard time, and blamed Walter for ratting him out. In reality, Walter had only stepped in to protect his oldest son, who was being lured into gang life by Q. But Q didn't care about facts. He wanted blood. As guests danced and plates piled high with brisket and corn, a silver 2011 Chevy Malibu pulled up across the street. Inside sat Q, now 37, tattooed head to toe, eyes cold and locked onto Walter. A friend at the barbecue, Rico, noticed the car and tensed up. "Yo, that's Q Lomax," he muttered. But before anyone could react, the car door swung open, and Q stepped out wearing black jeans, a white tank, and something tucked under his waistband. At that moment, Walter looked up from the grill. Their eyes met across the yard. "Get the kids inside," Walter shouted. But it was too late. Q was already sprinting across the lawn, gun raised. The first shot rang out and chaos exploded. People screamed, ducked, ran. Walter's wife, Sheila, screamed his name as he pushed 2 of his children behind a table and dove for cover. But Q kept coming, firing wildly. Walter got hit once in the side, but somehow managed to tackle Q to the ground. They struggled, and the gun slid into the grass. It should have ended there, but it didn't. Q pulled a second weapon from his ankle holster and fired 3 times. 2 into Walter's chest, 1 into his neck. Walter collapsed as his youngest son screamed, "Daddy!" By now, Sheila had grabbed a kitchen knife and charged toward Q, but Rico tackled her down to keep her safe. Q stood over Walter, breathing hard, gun smoking, eyes wild. "Now you know how it feels," he hissed, before sprinting off into the street. But what Q didn't know was that one of Walter's daughters, 15-year-old Janessa, had caught the entire thing on her phone. The footage went viral within hours. Before police even arrived, the streets were already talking. "Q just killed Big Walt," became the new cry in South Memphis. The police arrived within 4 minutes, but it was too late. Walter Jefferson was pronounced dead at the scene. His blood still stained the grass. Kids cried. Sheila fainted. The community fell into mourning. And yet the manhunt for Q had just begun. Police immediately issued an arrest warrant, but Q had vanished. For 2 days, tensions ran high. Vigilantes wanted street justice. Walter's older sons, especially Marcus and Trey, were on the verge of taking matters into their own hands. "Let me handle it," Marcus told a cousin. "Cops ain't moving fast enough." But Sheila begged them not to. "Don't let your father's death turn you into what he stood against," she cried. Meanwhile, law enforcement tracked Q's known associates. They checked motels, gas stations, and even abandoned buildings. But nothing. Then on day 3, a tip came from an unlikely source: Q's baby mama Tanisha. She told detectives Q was hiding out in an old duplex near Lamar Avenue, in a unit belonging to his cousin Jermel. A SWAT team was dispatched at 3 a.m. on Thursday. They surrounded the building and called Q out. For 30 minutes, there was silence. Then, a single shot rang out from inside. Cops breached the door and found Q bleeding from a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the chest, but still alive. He was rushed to the hospital under heavy guard. The neighborhood erupted in a mix of relief and rage. "He don't get to check out easy," one neighbor said. "He need to face what he did." Q survived the attempt, and 3 weeks later, he sat shackled in court, face hollow, refusing to look at Walter's family. Prosecutors charged him with first-degree murder, unlawful possession of a firearm, and reckless endangerment. But the trial brought even more shocking revelations. In court, Q claimed Walter ruined his entire life, not just with testimony, but with lies he said cost him his child, his rep, and his future. But the DA played Janessa's video and Walter's quiet acts of charity. The jury wept. They saw not a snitch, but a man trying to protect his family. The verdict came in after just 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. The judge sentenced Q to life without parole. In the courtroom, Sheila held her youngest, tears streaming. "You did it, Walt," she whispered. "We kept the kids safe." After the sentencing, the city of Memphis renamed the park near Walter's home, Jefferson Legacy Field. A mural of him was painted across the rec center wall. Grill in hand, kids all around him. His funeral drew thousands, including city officials, athletes, and ordinary people touched by his kindness. His 12 children now carry his legacy forward, some in sports, some in music, some in community service. And Janessa, the teen who recorded the video that helped convict her father's killer, now speaks at youth forums, warning others about the cost of revenge and gun violence. Walter Jefferson may be gone, but his impact echoes through every street he walked, every child he lifted, and every heart he healed. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because stories like these remind us how quickly lives can be changed by one trigger pull. Until next time, stay safe, stay aware, and protect your peace.